deal. Ed Lavandera is at ground level. We're up about 25 feet. And Ed, I got to tell you, it is like a sandblasting to the face. What is it like down where you are? And really, it's not about the levity, it's about the concern for the longevity. How long can Naples take this kind of pounding? And then when that storm surge comes in, then what? What are you seeing?
Chris, this is unbelievable. If we can make our way this way across the shot here, kind of give you a look. Oh man, the visibility is completely cut off. That building structure that we just were able to show you here a little while ago is no more than 100 yards away from us, and I can barely see it anymore. The water's pulling up here on the street. The lack of visibility that has just disappeared on us here in the last few minutes is absolutely stunning. The fact that we can't even see a building anymore that was just no more than 100 yards away from us now has just been really stunning. Obviously, now lightening up a smidge. Jerry, I don't know if I can get you to come back around this way. This is a Cambier Park, which is the area just back to where we are. I'm going to get out of the way here. Chris, if you can still hear me, needed to jump out of that. That's just
I hear
way
you,
too
Ed.
crazy.
Keep going.
But looking back toward that building, you can see it's basically a outdoor concert venue with that soft tarp on it, and that is a Cambier Park here in downtown Naples. And that roof, that structure there continues to hold. I thought for sure that tarp would come flying off and ripping to shreds here as these winds have intensified, and now you can kind of see that structure again a little bit. But as we were starting to talk, I couldn't even see it. Just absolutely stunning, the amount of rain and the way it was whipping through here. And then if you look down here on the ground, you can see just how much the water is starting to pool up on the ground. Definitely, covering my feet here. That's that storm surge concern. We feel like we're in a really good spot as far as storm surge and the water rising in the area. We are halfway between the Gulf side and the river that cuts along the eastern side of town. But it is that storm surge that's going to continue to push its way north and cause a lot of flooding, that 10 to 15 foot storm surge that was expected in this. But it is the back half of that storm, as it brings the water in from the Gulf side and pushes it back here toward the east, that is going to be of major concern. But you can just see how little visibility we have here at this point, and the dramatic nature here as the eye of this storm, Hurricane Irma, which just made landfall in Marco Island, which is about 20 miles south of where we are, and the eye of that storm coming directly to where we are right now. And it is that edge, being close to the eye of that storm, which brings you the most intense part of these hurricanes, and that's what we are approaching here right now, Chris.
All right, Ed, now back up to where we are. There's no question it's going to be a little bit more intense because of the elevation, but this is it now. I mean, these are hurricane force winds. There's no question about it. This just came over. We know that the hurricane made landfall not far south from here not long ago. Chad Myers said that we were going to get an intensification, and he was exactly right. I mean, we're seeing it now. The visibility is almost gone. I don't even know what I'm hearing right now, but we're having some kind of weird sound come from around the corner, but it's not unusual. Things start to break free, and you start to hear the wind flying through pieces of metal and stuff. But the visibility has been cut down to maybe 200 feet, maybe. And these gusts have to be well in excess of a general hurricane force gust. And you're seeing the structures. They're not going to be able to take it. You can just see these trees are starting to split. And you're seeing that over time, this is going to create problems that they're going to have to deal with for a long time here. I mean, just look at this. This is water that's coming sideways here. Chad Myers, I know you're listening along with me. On the balcony where we're standing, as like a little microcosm of what we're dealing with here, there's just the little leaves and stuff from the flooding from the rain, from the air, from the wind, has clogged up, so it's flooding the whole balcony, and that's what's happening to the roads. That's what's happening to the sewer system. And when that storm surge comes on top of it, what can they expect here in Naples, especially if they have hours of this to go?
They truly do have hours to go, and you have not seen the worst yet. I know that might be impossible to believe, but the real part of the eye wall that's going to go over Naples that has already affected Marco Island with a wind of 130 miles per hour is still coming. What you've received there is about 105 to 110, gusting back and forth, but you still have another possible 20 miles per hour added to that event. And you can see it appears to me like what all of the rain pellets or the rain drops are just broken up into spray. It's no longer a rain event. It is a misting, blowing event. So what Chris is going to go through, and if you are and stuck it out in Naples, this is what they already received in Marco Island. Marco, you're in the middle of the eye. Your wind is 0, and the wind's about to come from the other direction at the same speed that you already saw. So, Chris, I'm so glad you kept the pictures up, but I'm also concerned about the security of our forces out there. Please make sure everybody's away. I don't need you standing out there in the rain. I don't need you being hit by a palm tree or a frond or whatever, because it's happened to me before, as Anderson and I stood at Indian Atlantic Beach and just got pelted with things. The pictures are enough. The pictures tell the story. As the wind continues to go up from here another 20 miles per hour, I'm suspecting that we don't get any visibility whatsoever, and that we will not even be able to see that building across the street. Oh, there you go. What I've seen before behind you was a crane. I will be interested to see what that crane looks like when it finally stops.
Well, you know, she's okay, Chad, and we're lucky that this crane isn't as high elevation as the ones that you have down in Miami. And basically, she's working as like a huge weather vane. We can't see her right now, but she's just pointing in the wind direction. And the one reason that, you know, there's a benefit for us to be here is that when this is done, as you know, we're going to go out with search and rescue, and we're going to volunteer our time, and we're not working. Oh, there are those gusts you're talking about. And it's going to be good to know where the worst of it seems to be going, because that's where we're going to need to go and check and see who was there and see who made it through and how everything is in those areas. So there is a benefit to that, but I have to tell you, if this is going to be hours long, there's going to be a heck of a lot of work to do here, because as Chad was saying, this is a real beating. When you look at it, all right, the branches are starting to come off this tree next to us. It was only a matter of time. She's starting to let go, fellas. That big tree around the corner, that's going to be a problem here in terms of road clearing. This is one of the main thoroughfares. They're going to have to get that out of the way in order to do any kind of search and rescue. The producers are working here on trying to clear the drains because it's literally filling up with water. It's in no way a serious situation, but we're just trying to help the hotel out and keep the debris away from the drains so some of this water can seep through, because as the expression goes, water always wins. It's always going to find a way where it wants to go. You know, it's a problem with something inconsequential like this, and it's really meaningful when it comes to the storm surge. The storm surge is going to come up. It's going to come up these streets. It's going to go into these homes. It's going to flood them. It's going to own them, and it's going to stay there. And it's going to take time because it's so hard for it to reabsorb. And that's one of the big problems. And you put all these different components together, and then you mix them with the most dangerous component, which is time. And that's what Chad's been telling us about as a function of the size of this storm, the length of this storm, the miles with which you will have these bands of energy with this storm. That's time, that's duration. On top of it, the speed of it. Luckily, it's sped up a little bit. It's moving through these areas more quickly. That's good, because the longer it stays, the more of a price that you're going to pay. At Lavandera, you're down on street level. Are you seeing these trees break up the way we are up here? How is it by you?
We're surrounded by trees, and obviously